Hey, hang on, give me a second. I'm getting set up here. Different room this time because, well, I haven't completely finished setting up a alternate angle in the room I'm now shooting the videos in. So once that's done, you'll have something a little bit closer to what you're used to for this and for the break room. But right now, oy, let's relax. Oh, hey folks. Just working out in the yard, so I need to hydrate. Hi, randomness. Bet you $10 it still turns into Doctor Who. Of course it will. It always does. And that is not my fault. That is your people's fault. Hi, Ian. Angry Orchard, always a good choice. Yeah, it's a good default. I still kind of prefer Woodchuck, but they had this on sale, so, you know, if I can get it at a good price, Angry Orchard works. I like it. How are folks doing? Like, I say yard work and She-Ra spoilers. I'm not actually going to talk about yard work. Yard work is just the reason that this is going up an hour later than it would normally. Speaking of yard work, my best friend is using this time to build a bar in her garden. I like your friend. Nice new location is like sharing a drink with you in your living room. Not actually the living room. Living room's on the other side of the house and actually is a lot harsher light and the Wi-Fi signal is weaker, so. This is actually the room I've been shooting the Vera Wild videos in for a while now. A new one of which went up today. Plug for the other channel. One of the two other channels. Actually, there's 3 other channels, but one of them I don't talk about. Started replaying Red Dead Redemption 2 and GTA 5. Got to commend Rockstar Games. They make dang good games. I haven't played either Yard Work. I hate Yard Work. It's dictatorship for intellectuals. See, the thing is, I don't have current gen gaming systems anyways, so things like Red Dead 2 completely gonna pass me by. But things like even GTA 3, which blew up and everyone loved, I couldn't get into it. I just wasn't feeling the vibe on it. I don't know if it was a tone thing. I think part of it was honestly I didn't like. I tend to not really like that much freedom that you get with the sandbox. It's like, oh, wander around the city, find stuff to do. I'm like, no, tell me what to do. Give me a project. And I mean, some sandboxes give you more direction than others, but just like in general, I didn't love it right off the bat. Excuse me. Are we getting closer to a room tour? Totally get it if that's something you're uncomfortable with, by the way. Well, John, I shot a room tour before I moved my shooting location to another room. But that video is a Patreon exclusive. That's not something I do very often. There's like 3 exclusive videos on the Patreon, but the room tour is one of them. Now that video is viewable on the Patreon for any donation level. So if it's worth $1 for you to support for 1 month and go and see it, you can do that. Just listen to the Big Finish story, Master. It reminded me a lot of Human Nature and The Family of Blood. I have listened to that one. That one didn't stick with me a ton. I don't know what it was. It was okay. It was fine. I didn't love it, though. And it didn't stick with me the way the best of Big Finish does. Boy, we got onto Doctor Who even faster than I expected. Still playing Dark Souls, finally beat a boss after so many attempts, so I proceeded to the next area and proceeded to get immediately murdered by some people with sticks. That is the Dark Souls experience. Join the club. Get good. The game I want to get back into, because I got as far as the last boss, but I never beat it, was actually Dragon Crown. I don't know if anyone remembers that one. That was a beat 'em up brawler sort of thing. I have it on the PS3 with this super exaggerated sort of fantasy art style that is very I don't know how the sorceress's top stays up. Like, that's the art style on the thing. But it was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed it. I was starting to build other characters, and I like the RPG elements in that game. Do you like drinks with juice and vodka, or is beer the best, or maybe wine? Beer is awful. This is hard cider. I hate beer a lot. I cannot stand it. I'm finally on the last series of Buffy. Oh! It's worth powering through for the finale, because the actual finale is good. And there's my short review of season 7 of Buffy. Have you seen the new Twilight Zone season 2 trailer? I haven't. I haven't seen any of the first season of the new Twilight Zone. That's on the pile of stuff that I meant to catch and haven't gotten to yet. Currently maintaining my Animal Crossing Island past 1 a.m. Animal Crossing was another one I never got into. I remember when that first became a thing. Like back on, I think it was on the GameCube. I didn't get it then. I think I get it now, but it's still not really for me. I started uploading videos a couple days ago. Any advice? Stick to topics that you enjoy and you will enjoy talking about regardless of how many views you get. And keep a regular schedule if you can, because if you're just uploading whenever I can, you're more likely to lose the habit and drop off. The only beer I actually like is wheat beer. Speaking of Buffy, have you heard about the reboot they may be making? Not in a while. It's funny, I was actually talking with Liz about that this past weekend, that I hadn't heard anything about that in a couple of years now, I think. Because, did you see the Batwoman news? No, I did not, so I don't know what that is. So, here was the thing with Buffy. There was talk of a reboot as a TV series, and they were going to set it in high school again, so basically bringing it back to its original concept, and the part of the original pitch was to have an African-American Buffy. And I actually think that if you're going to reboot Buffy, that's a really good thing to do. Not just like for the sake of diversity, but because you have the possibility, if you take advantage of it, to give a completely different high school experience. Because those first 3 seasons of Buffy especially, it is horror tropes filtered through the high school experience. But it was filtered through a middle-class, suburban, white high school experience. And if you were to filter it through a more, you maybe don't have to make it urban, but through a black high school experience, you have the possibility of taking a different angle for these horror tropes that you are tackling. Think about how being steeped in a cultural understanding of race affected a movie like Get Out. I'm not saying that Buffy should go to that length, but I'm saying informing the way that they tell it through a completely different high school experience like that, I would totally be on board for seeing. But I haven't heard anything about that in ages, so I don't know if that's still moving forward or not. Ruby Rose left Batwoman before season 2 started production. They're going to recast. Oh, dang. I still haven't seen any of Batwoman, so I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but that's obviously an awkward thing to have to deal with. Forget a reboot, we need Ripper to become a reality. Yeah, I wanted that too, but I gave up. I gave up holding out for that. We did need that, though. Because, I mean, Giles is the best character in Buffy. He just is. Don't at me. Well, the fandom menace needs something new to rant about with She-Ra ending. Oh, the She-Ra ending was so good, though. You know, it was really fun. Here's what was funny to me about, because I feel like, granted, a lot of these channels I don't watch, I don't even keep tabs on, but I got the impression that aside from their initial little tantrum about, you know, the redesigns of the characters for She-Ra and maybe a little bit about the first season, I feel like most of them dropped off that because they realized that the kinds of people who watch their videos don't care about She-Ra as a property, so they weren't going to get more out of that. I know there were like one or two who continued to complain about it, but I feel like most of them got off it because got off of talking about it, because obviously if they continue to complain about things like Star Trek, Star Wars, Doctor Who, there are significant chunks of their subscriber base who care about those properties. Pretty sure most of the subscriber bases of those channels don't care about She-Ra. So I feel like that the heat actually kind of died down a bit over time. Excuse me. Do you think I'm not scrolling back through, so if I miss your question, you may just have to ask it again. Do you think Plague Doctors from the Black Death era would be good for a Doctor Who story? Would it be too similar to The Empty Child? Well, I think doing a plague story right now might be a little too on the nose. But I think in general, it's kind of surprising they haven't set a Doctor Who story during the Black Death. Not on the show anyway. There's probably been like a novel or a Big Finish or something that I haven't read. That picture on your wall is from the Scottish tapestry of a unicorn, which is Scotland's national animal. Yes, I am aware. And that particular tapestry is also the inspiration for the opening credit visuals for The Last Unicorn. So, you know, bonus. Faith forever. I like Faith. I'm not sure how much I'd be into a spin-off about her. That's me, though. It's almost as if these outrage merchants are just spewing bile because it gets them views. They're clearly the true heroes. Oh, yes. They sacrifice so much. See, like, here's my big thing about that. And it's just something that I don't get. Because here's the thing. I know for a fact that going negative gets you more views. My most viewed videos pretty much are entirely all ones where I am annoyed, complaining, or possibly even yelling. And I have the metrics to back up the fact that negative gets me more views. I know that, so I am sure it's the case for everybody else. So I get why you would do it for a view perspective, to grow your channel, to build a following. What I don't get, and what I will never understand, is how you balance yourself. It's funny, I was rewatching an older video where I got a bit angrier and shoutier than like I would now, or at least in terms of the way in which I directed it. But at the very end of that video, I went, you know, I don't like being this angry. And that's very true. I can get worked up, but, and like in the moment as a one-off, it can be even invigorating a little bit. But I don't enjoy being in an angry place. I certainly don't enjoy staying there. And even if it's an act for these channels, which I'm not going to say one way or the other that it is, but even if it is, it's gotta wear on you to have to just present that much anger over and over and over and over again. Aside from the fact that, to quote the late great Kurt Vonnegut, you are what you pretend to be. Are there any movie tropes or cliches that you enjoy? There are some things I'm a sucker for. I'm a sucker for a character building through a poker game. I'm a sucker for a heist. There's a handful of things that I'm an easy mark for. That's not to say that I always love them, because you can still do them badly. But I don't hate all tropes. I'm just tired of a lot of them. Faith and Spike were actually also meant to get their own spin-offs, but they never came through. I never really heard about about Faith actually moving forward in any meaningful way. I know that was something the fans wanted. And I do know with Spike, there was talk of actual, planning being done on like some TV movies for him to be in. But I don't remember anything tangible about the Faith one. I feel like that one was fan projection mostly. Most of them use the fandom topics to spread their underlying agendas. Well, again, it's... I want to be careful because I don't want to bash on specific channels, and in some cases, yeah, that's probably true. But I do wonder sometimes how much, again, in practical terms, it doesn't matter. The difference is negligible. But like for myself, I do wonder like how much is of these channels where they always had these points of view and they're just taking the opportunity to espouse them more, or if they adopted that point of view because it got them more clicks and got them more views and got them more subscribers and more influence. Again, at the end of the day, if you're pretending to be that video after video after video, for all intents and purposes, you are that. But I just, for myself, I wonder what came first, the chicken or the egg? The ideology or the views? What came first? One of my favorite tropes is where team members are interrogated individually and they tell wildly different stories, full montage of each. I'm a sucker for it. That's a fun trope. Opinions on Inside Number 9. I've only seen the first series of it. I had very mixed feelings, basically on an episode-by-episode basis. Some of the episodes were great. Some didn't work for me. I ended up not liking some of the ones that I guess are really popular, so I was kind of disincentivized to keep going. We've had the War Master and Missy. Is there any other incarnation of the Master you would like to see a Big Finish box set about? Well, I mean, Roger Delgado, but he's gone. And I know they could get like a sound alike, but I wouldn't want them to. Maybe Sacha Dhawan's version, but I feel like I wanna see more of him in the show proper, to get a sense of that. Have you seen the fan remastered 7th Doctor intro? No. Was not aware that that was a thing. By the way, the Faith spinoff was in the works, but the actress who played her wanted to move her career in a different path, so she said no. Yeah, she picked up, what was her show right after? It was True Calling, or I think was what it was. Never watched it myself. Imagine a Doctor Who story themed around 3 little Indians. I don't know if that was Unicorn and the Wasp. I haven't seen it in a while. Unicorn and the Wasp wasn't. I'm assuming you mean There Will Be None, which is the current name for the Agatha Christie story that was once called 10 Little Indians, and prior to that was called something I will not say on this channel. But despite having the Agatha Christie story, they didn't actually pull that format, and then there were none format, which I'm not sure if Doctor Who has. That would work for them. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, this is one of Agatha Christie's most famous pieces. And I think it was actually originally a play. I think so. Oh no, it was a book, but then it was adapted into a play. I've seen it as a play. But the setup is 10 people on an island, stuck there, no communication, and people start dying, which means you have a fixed pool of suspects, none of whom can trust each other. And they just keep dropping. So it's a solid format. One of my favorite tropes is man trapped on island or wilderness. Oh, dang it. It got away from me. Hang on. Man trapped on island or wilderness learning to survive but becoming a monster. Bonus points if they're rich. Do you have any new movie mashups? Love that video. Crossing my fingers Ryan can come back sometime. Well, I mean, we've got social distancing to worry about now. I don't see, like, I love that video too, but it's also low. Even at the time, it was a low view count video. But I did have fun with it. I don't know if I have ideas for more since then. The camera's gonna jiggle because the table I've got this set up on is not the sturdiest thing in the world, so I apologize for that. My favorite tropes involve people, good people turning bad, bad people turning good. I'm a bit of a sucker for good girls gone bad. Ooh. So my first question for Ben, are you watching Riverdale? I'm not. Liz is, so I do hear about it. Any murder mystery TV shows or movie recommendations? I was always kind of a sucker for Law and Order, if I'm being honest. The original version. SVU didn't do it for me. Let's see. Dang it. This is all getting away from me now. Have you seen the new ContraPoints video? I did. It was good. She always makes good stuff. Spike versus Joan Hart from Torchwood. Who would win? John would only win if he knows what a vampire is and how to kill it. If he doesn't, he's going to get cocky and screw up and Spike takes him. How many minutes of video do you upload on an average week? Well, videos from me these days probably average in the 14-minute range, and that's 4 videos a week, so a little over an hour a week at present. That's going to actually be shift, and that's just on this channel. That's not counting the break room or the Vera Wild channel. What are your 3 desert island books? Restaurant at the End of the Universe, The Last Unicorn, and Lamb, The Gospel According to Biff. Might have asked you this before, but will you ever do a best finales to TV shows list? I don't know. I'm more likely to maybe highlight 1 or 2 specifically and talk about why those are great. The problem is there are way too many shows that I have not seen in their entirety and haven't seen the finales of. So that would be one of those lists that there's so many supposedly great ones that I haven't seen that I would feel like I'm coming up short to even try and tackle that. For your next big finish, I recommend the Torchwood box set, Sins of Captain John. If you thought Missy was meta, the series straight up trolls the audience. I don't have that one, so I have others that I already have in my possession that I'm going to prioritize over that. But I have heard of that, and I am curious. I'm sorry, I know you hate hypotheticals. Oh boy. What master would you put with Eccleston in a story for the best and most interesting result? I'm just going to say Missy because Missy should take on every doctor. Not heard of Riverdale. Oh, depends on your. Here's the thing. It's Liz's current favorite trash TV, and she will blatantly call it trash, and she loves it. There was a live episode of Inside Number 9 at Halloween. Without spoiling it, it only really works if you actually saw it live. Oh, well, sorry I didn't see it then, but that's kind of cool that they did that. I won't lie, I love a well-written autistic character, but that's probably because I'm autistic myself. Well, I think we all love well-written characters we can relate to. If there was There was a review I was commissioned to do last year for an episode of a TV show called Accused. And it was it was a episode about a cross-dresser played by Sean Bean. And the thing was, I saw so much of myself and my past experience in that performance, like to a degree that I had never, and have not seen since, but had never seen actually portrayed in a show before. And I kind of broke down a little bit, both watching it and in the video review, because it was a really well-written and well-performed character that spoke to me in a way that I never thought anything would. So I feel you on that. When you can see something that does a good job portraying aspects of yourself you're not used to seeing represented, that can, yeah, that can be powerful. Speaking of murder mystery shows, have you seen the British show Jonathan Creek? I have not. I've heard of it, for what it's worth. Wish I could get this chat to behave. Okay, that's reminded me of a duo I'd love to see is John Hart and the Dewan Master. Oh, cool. Which Batman would you want to see more of? The Batman animated series Batman would be my standard answer if I still trusted Bruce Timm, but I don't anymore. Not after Batman and Harley Quinn. Holy crap. Is Torchwood worth watching? Children of Earth is worth watching. The rest of it, I don't love Torchwood. Quarantine Kisses. Thank you, Brian. And for you. Let's see. I'm losing track of this whole thing. And the latest episode of Riverdale, two boys made a business selling videos of them tickling each other. Such a nuanced plot. That was like actually a thing. Like there was a documentary made about it. There was like this whole weird underground thing of men tickling each other videos. Which Batman villain would you like to see the most in live action? Someone that that either has been done before or not. I would like to see a good Poison Ivy in live action. Because, you know, all respect to Uma Thurman. And, like, also to be fair, Gotham gave us a good Ivy briefly. Of the 3 versions of Ivy they did, Middle Ivy was quite good. I enjoyed her. But she also wasn't like Ivy as we know her. So I would really like to see full-on proper Poison Ivy. Given I will be finishing Buffy soon, I will probably be moving on to Angel. I'll be watching it anyway, but is it any good? Yes. Angel is great. And Angel, here's an incentive for you to get through it. I would argue Angel has one of the greatest series finales in television. I think it's amazing and perfect. Love your shirt. Thank you. This is actually my own merch. So you go to the TeePublic /Council of Geeks. You can pick this up, and the fist is God, I'm patting my own chest here. The fist comes in 4 different skin tones. So inclusion, I try to do it. There's a pretty good Poison Ivy fan film I saw the other day with which Eric Roberts is in. It's always weird to me when they get big stars for the fan films. Any baddies of New Who you don't want to see again at all? If so, I'd like to know any reasoning. There's nobody who I'd like ban, never bring them back again. There's some that need a rest. I kind of like that the Daleks have been relegated to the specials now. I actually kind of prefer that. Um, that that works for me. Might be time to give the Cybermen a rest for a little bit, but I would still want them to come back at some point. You just need to not overuse them. Wes' character arc alone is worth it. Yes, Wesley has an amazing character arc in Angel. Have you listened to the Six musical soundtrack? No. Got to meet Charisma Carpenter from Buffy at Comic-Con. That's cool. Remember Comic-Cons? I do. I miss those. You have said you wouldn't want The Wire to return. Here's the thing. I would actually be okay with The Wire returning if they revisited that concept from the ground up. Because until she devolved into hungry, feed me, and that crap for the entire latter half of the episode, she was legitimately creepy. And the actress was a perfect casting for what they were going for. And I would have been interested to see them play into what they had, but they didn't. She just became a generic life-sapping monster thing, and like, who cares? So I actually wouldn't have a problem with her coming back, provided she was used better. Would you rather have the Daleks used every season or the Cybermen used with the Master every other finale? That is an odd either or. I guess I'd rather have the Daleks used every season because I don't want to know, I don't want to be able to call in advance, oh, this year's finale, it'll be Cybermen and the Master again, because it's time. Speaking of the Idiot's Lantern, oh boy. Magpie Electricals is the weirdest recurring Doctor Who in-joke. Is that a recurring thing? Because I believe you, but I actually didn't know that. Yikes, I missed cons. I had my 13th Doctor cosplay all set up. Was really excited. Naturally, everything was canceled. Yeah. With the exception of the ending to Idiot's Lantern, do you have any other major problems with that episode? Yes, the villain is poorly utilized. The ending is what infuriates me the most, but the character of the father in general he's too cartoonish for me to get invested in what they're trying to do with that character. And I've seen people make the argument at me that there are actually people like that, and I'm not disputing that. That doesn't make the characterization any less cartoonish. There are people in real life who are cartoons of cartoonish human beings. But that doesn't make for effective storytelling. So no, it's got a lot more problems than the very end. The very end is just the biggest offense that that episode offers. The only episode of Doctor Who you're gonna drink your way through this gonna be Hellbent. You know, I hadn't considered the possibility of doing Hellbent as a drunk review. I'm actually gonna ponder that now. Though I was saved from my friend Kirsty constantly telling me 13 Sonic looked like a certain sort of toy. Oh boy, that joke got old real quick. That joke was being made just when a woman was casting before we saw the dang thing. Capaldi's amp in Before the Flood was from Magpie Electronics. Oh. Which upcoming movie would you get back in, would get you back into the theater again? My local theater would have to reopen again. It's not a question of what will get me back into the theater. It's a question of the theater actually being up and running. So, wrong question. Also, the Daleks have to be used in every season in agreement with Terry Nation Estate. That is unconfirmed. That has been a very long-standing rumor. There is no evidence of that aside from the fact that they have appeared regularly. There is nothing on record of that actually being the case. The BBC did have to negotiate to be able to do the Daleks again, but I dug into this a while back. It is not confirmed. It's possible. That is possible. But that is not confirmed. don't say that like it's a fact, because it is not. It is a possibility. Have you ever watched Simon Pegg's Cornetto trilogy? Of course I have! I have the very unpopular opinion that Shaun of the Dead is the worst of the three. Don't at me. The most annoying thing about my dad is that his favorite companion is Clara. It's because he has a crush on her, isn't it? Oh yes, please, more drunk review. Some things you dislike. Your drunk review of Cats was one of the best videos. Love to see more. I actually got a... I got a commission that I haven't gotten to yet, but I got a commission through Patreon that they didn't just want me to review a movie, they very specifically wanted me to drunk review a movie. So, we'll see how that goes. Hey Freddy. Just rewatched Name of the Doctor, and the only part I didn't like was the constant rhymes of the Whisper Men. The Whisper Men in general are a little bit odd in that I'm not sure how necessary they are. And they're a cool look, but they're just kind of there. I'll pitch you Doctor Who and the Pirates. It's the Sixth Doctor. Evelyn Smythe deals with similar themes to Vincent and the Doctor, and it takes you away, and it's a musical. Sold. Cartoonish human beings. Do we dare name names? I'm not naming names. Use your imagination. Immediately adding Council of Geeks. Look, the Cornetto films, it's Hot Fuzz, End of the World, Shaun of the Dead. They're all good, let's be clear. In fairness, before I worked out, I like... I'm sorry, I can't quite follow your wording there. Both Clara and River were some baby gay crushes for me, even though I really didn't like Clara. Hey, you know, sometimes crushes are a funny thing, because you can crush someone like, I don't even really like you, but like that can happen. That's legitimate. Have you ever seen the Fourth Doctor story, The Invasion of Time? I have not gotten to that one. The only drunk review I would love to see is one reviewing the Star Wars Holiday Special. Oh my God. Someone would have to commission me to watch that. I don't want to watch that. I'm surprised we've gotten this without mentioning the time. Oh. Excuse me. You know what It's funny and it's weird and it's annoying. Because, you know, I'm still working from home. No word on when my company's offices are going to reopen, but I've been working from home this whole time, so I haven't actually had more time or anything. But I have, like, had, you know, dreams of what I would do if I'd had more time. I would love to try and get into actual costume making and try and make my own Scorpia cosplay. Like, get some foam, make the claws. That would be nice. Yeah, Series 12 DVD includes resolution. That's good. I'm glad they've started putting the specials back on the season sets again, because it started with Day of the Doctor, or actually with Time of the Doctor, I suppose. And Day of the Doctor was fair enough. Like, that was its own big deal thing. But then they did Time of the Doctor as its own standalone release. And then they just started doing the Christmas specials as a standalone release, instead of having it be part of the box sets anymore, which was kind of bullcrap. I'm actually going back to work at KFC on Thursday. Help. Ooh. Best of luck. I rewatched Rings of Akaten, and the speech with the song didn't really bother me. I can't hear it. I can barely make out what he's saying. Given how the Fifth Doctor is one of your least favorites, how was Caves of Androzani for you? I thought it was easily one of his best performances. I liked it well enough last time I saw it. I haven't seen it in a while. I'm due for a rewatch on that. Oh, God, The Timeless Child. I'm not going to talk about The Timeless Child. I'm done talking about The Timeless Child. I will probably eventually have to talk about The Timeless Child again, but I'm not going to talk about it now because I don't wanna! Ah. Anything you want to see on Doctor Who's 60th anniversary? Something. I'm not going to make specific requests, just something, anything would be nice. Have you considered reviewing Flash Gordon since Max von Sydow passed? No. Of all the Max von Sydow films to suggest, now that the man's passed away, Flash Gordon. No Exorcist, no Seventh Seal, Flash Gordon. Have you made any spontaneous quarantine decisions? My big one was giving myself a buzz cut. I really haven't. Like, the closest thing was moving my shooting location from my bedroom into a new office room. Converting a guest room into an office. But that wasn't that spontaneous. I'd been thinking about it for a little bit. What are your thoughts on the fan series that Mary Poppins is a Time Lord? Well, yeah. Mary Poppins is a Time Lord and Santa Claus is a Time Lord. That it is known. That I don't want to sound it's so much like Entrapta. Hey, we finally got around to talking about She-Ra. Thank you, Ben. Ah, fascinating. Hey, we saw you on Jesse Gender's video the other day. Love the collabs. I had a lot of fun working with Jesse. And I suspect we might be doing some other stuff together down the line as well. Have you ever seen any of the Power Rangers franchise? I watched a little bit of like when it first started, that first iteration. But I bailed on it pretty quick after that because I was too old for it. Well, on another topic, I kind of miss Missy and Clara now. I miss Missy. I'll always miss Missy. I don't really miss Clara. Mary Poppins versus Missy. Missy is Mary Poppins. Like, that. What is she going to punch herself in the face? Did you ever watch Star Trek Discovery? Thoughts? No thoughts, because I haven't seen it. There's a theory that in Groundhog's Day, Bill Murray is a Time Lord. So is he... Is like a Time Lord in a broken pocket of time? I don't think that theory holds up. And Groundhog Day doesn't need theories. It's perfect. Leave it alone. Who is the best Harley Quinn? Arlene Sorkin. Like, what? Why is that a question? What? Is that a debate? Is that something people actually wonder? Who's the best Harley? Arlene Sorkin's the best Harley Quinn. Duh. Character. She was the original voice, and the character was literally modeled on her. This is not open for debate. What? To be completely honest, Power Rangers RPM is fantastic, and honestly, really depressing. Boy, that's a pitch. Because that's what I need is depressing children's entertainment. Thanks. What was your reaction to Michelle Gomez showing up in Gotham? Disappointment that they didn't do more with her. Ultimately, by the end, when she first showed up, I was like, yes! But, like, honestly, I keep forgetting she was in it. Oh, thank you, Carwin. I do need to pop over to the Discord because, random self-promotional plug and reminder, etc., etc. The Council of Geeks Discord is a Patreon-exclusive perk, and there is one of the channels on there is to put questions in that are guaranteed to get answered during the live stream. Although, for that to be worth much, I feel like I need to get worse at keeping up with the questions on the live stream so that, like, it becomes more of a necessity for people to either drop super chats or use the Discord, which means they're supporting me on Patreon. I need to get worse at what I'm doing. I'll make more money that way. I can be cynical. Let's see. Question for the live stream. Because Entrapta is the geek princess, are we now elevated to being Royal Council of Geeks? Or were we always a Royal Council? Let's take it as a promotion. Just remember that there is value in failure, because you never come away empty-handed. There's always data. In recent Star Wars video, you mentioned you forgot May the 4th, so technically you forgot my birthday. Oh, geez. I'm sorry. Sorry, Microraptor. Not a question, but a thought. Until I saw the future with them all grown up, it never completely clicked for me how young the characters in She-Ra are. It suddenly put the whole story in a different light. Like, I knew it, but seeing it made it real. Yeah, that's true. Actually, that is kind of... That sequence is a little odd for that reason. Not odd in a bad way, but in a... You forget how young these characters are supposed to be. Let's see. So it sounds like another Doctor Who night, She-Ra of the Daleks. Yeah, it always ends up being Doctor Who. Please, for the love of feline, sign off with McCavity. Well, we'll see if I remember to do that. I know nothing of She-Ra beyond to be into your reviews, though an 80s He-Man and She-Ra meant nothing to me, so no interest. Fair enough, I suppose. But you don't need an interest in the original to enjoy the new one. From what I can tell, She-Ra was a very creative reinvention, though. Any other similar properties that you think would be interesting for someone to explore? I would say Thundercats, but they already tried that. They only got a season out of it. Transformers has never really gone away. That just gets continually refreshed and rebooted, etc. And we're getting a new version of He-Man. Honestly, bring back the real Ghostbusters. Should have seen that coming. Let's see. Only 3 episodes into She-Ra season 5 so far, but the pacing has been great. Horde Prime is really creepy. Yeah, he was effective as a final villain. For the live stream, what kind of fan fiction do you like? Can you recommend something? My recommendation for you is Harry Potter and the Methods of Rationality. There's even an audiobook for that. I think it throws people off that I don't actually read fan fiction. I think that's like a geek requirement that I miss. I've never really read fan fiction. So no, I can't recommend anything. I'm so nitpicky. Like, I remember briefly trying to read fan fiction in college, like just getting annoyed at everything. Like every detail that was off and wrong. It would infuriate me. And maybe I was just not reading really good fan fiction. I don't know, but like, it's just not something I've ever gotten into. Excuse me. 2 questions. Aside from using an external microphone, do you have any advice for getting the best audio when recording videos or doing things like live streams or Zoom calls? Be sure there isn't too much of an echo in the room that you're in. That's actually an issue in the office that I'm now shooting in. I need to get some stuff up on the walls because right now my voice is reverberating around a little more than I would like it to be. So I need to get some stuff up on the walls to soften that a little bit. Other than that, just be sure you know your microphone settings. I know you like puppets, but also know you're rather picky when it comes to comedies. Might I ask your thoughts on Team America World Police? I liked it at the time it came out. I have not rewatched it in a long time, and I'm kind of hesitant to, because it strikes me as the kind of movie that I probably will feel very different about at this point than I did when I first saw it. But I liked it originally. Okay, and I'm back here with the main thing. Do you think? Do you know when another author diary is coming to give me more of a will to power through my stories? Well, I've got another one shot and edited, but I try not to back them or have them come out too close together on the break room. So after maybe another video or two, I'll put that up. Like I'm plugging away at them. There will be more. Don't worry. I like Arlene Sorkin's Harley, but a lot of people didn't like her version now, given how much she has evolved as a character and isn't submissive anymore. I mean, well, there you're talking characterization versus performance, and that's a writing thing. So if you're asking me who's the best Harley Quinn from a writing perspective, that's a different question from who's the best performer who played Harley Quinn. That's a little bit like whenever I do a ranking of the Doctors, that's based off the performances of the Doctors. It's not a ranking of the era of each Doctor. Because you could have an actor who was good in the part, but was stuck with lousy scripts. And so I think if your question for me was meant to be who is the best written Harley, that's a different question from who performs it best. Jar Jar Binks is canon in the Doctor Who universe. No, seriously. Okay, Ben, you can't just drop that. You need to explain that. Go back to the source and let's comment on the 60s Thunderbirds videos. Pass, if that's okay. Exactly, but people still have a go at me when I say she was the best. Well then, those people are wrong. More thoughts on the Cachadora kiss? It worked. I wasn't sure it would, but it did. Power Rangers RPM takes place in an apocalyptic world where a virus took over the world and now rules the machine empire. Each of the characters has a backstory episode. Fantastic show. I'm just going to take your word on that. I'm still probably not going to watch it. Power to your passion for it. That's great. Still not going to watch it. If you could choose to be quarantined in any museum, zoo, aquarium, conservatory, any cultural institution, which one would you pick? Ooh. Oh. I would have a hard time making a call between the Metropolitan Museum of Art and the Boston Aquarium. Jar Jar Binks was a member of the Binks clan, whom the 10th Doctor described as being very hospitable and good people. Ew. I considered crosplaying Entrapta, but boy, that wig. Oh my god, yeah. I've seen some cosplays of Entrapta, some very good ones. I tried to manage that hair. I tried to even get it designed and built and how you would do it and then moving around with it. Ugh. My internet briefly shut down after I asked my Flash Gordon question. Well, then you missed me kind of laughing at you for the question a little bit. I feel bad for having to own up to that. Petition for Nathaniel to watch and review all the Night at the Museum movies. Pay me. The penguins at the Boston Aquarium. The penguins are great. I really do love the huge vertical tank, though. That's the centerpiece of the thing. I love that thing. Just walking around and around it. Oh, it's great. Who do you think the woman at the end of time was? Until something forces an answer, my answer has not changed since I first saw it. I believe it's Romana. And that, I'm not going to offer evidence, that's my headcanon. That is who I choose to believe that it is. because that is what I like to think. I like to think that that is Romana at a, not even necessarily at a later generation, but at a much older age, and seeing her and remembering his connection to her and his teachings to her and what she brought out of him helped remind the Doctor of who he is and what he needed to do. I know that Davies' intention was that it was the Doctor's mother, except that now that wouldn't actually be accurate, so now it would just be whoever the Doctor thought was his mother. Whatever. But my answer is going to be that, and that hasn't changed since it first aired. Have you watched any more of American Horror Story? Nope. I've not gotten to it. That reminds me of meeting a Monica from DDLC at a con, and apparently her wig fell off 5 times before we met because the wig was so long and heavy. Wigs, look, I'm not saying that I grew my hair out specifically for the purposes of not having to wear wigs anymore when I perform burlesque and drag numbers, but it's a really good bonus. Jar Jar sent a telepathic message to George Lucas, perceiving him as an idea for a character. Lucas wrote him into the Phantom Menace. This is on the wiki, Nathaniel. Wiki is not officially sanctioned canon material. Sorry. In your head canon, does Big Finish count as canon? Yes. By and large, yes. In the Series 6 premiere of The Flash, they played the Flash Gordon theme while he was running in and out of a black hole. Flash! Ah! Have you heard of Dear Evan Hansen? I feel like I've heard that. I don't know what that is, though, or what that means. Did you know in the movie King Kong Escapes, there was a character called Doctor Who, an Asian actor playing a doctor and was the villain in the movie? I actually did know that. I've never seen that movie, but I did know. I don't know why I knew that, but I did know that. I will assume you think Flash Gordon is bad apart from the Queen's Sword. No, Rowan, what it was is I've never seen Flash Gordon, first of all. What I laughed was at your suggestion that to remember Max von Sydow, to watch that of all things, as opposed to, like, say, The Seventh Seal or The Exorcist, or like any number of 100 other things that he's been in. I met Colin Baker at my local convention. He was wearing Crocs. If any doctor was going to wear Crocs, it was going to be Six. I assume you know about Doctor Who and King Kong because it wasn't a Lindsay Ellis vid. Oh, yeah! That is actually where I knew that from. Good call. Dang. Nice. Some book, Forever Autumn, wrote that about Jar Jar. I think I'm not going to count it as canon so I can sleep at night. Whatever. Like, here's the thing about canon. You do not have to accept everything that is official canon into your own head canon. That's the beauty of head canon. Oh, hey, Jesse. When did you pop in? Have you listened to the Good Omens Quarantine Edition, where Tennant and Sheen discuss the lockdown as Crowley and Aziraphale? No! That's a thing? Why did I not know that was a thing? Oh. Colin Baker's kind of notorious for wearing Crocs. I love it. Oh, that is great. Just got here. You got here in time for me to be wrapping up soon, but it is good to see you, so thank you. Have you seen the Sixth Doctor Regeneration by the Confession Dial? They made a video where it shows how 11 got the doctors to save Gallifrey. I'm not sure I've seen that specific one. I've seen something like that. There's a lot of things like that. What would you think about a She-Ra spinoff where we get Scorpia adjusting to full-time princess duties and moving from the muscle mindset? Look, I love Scorpia, but like I really feel the show had a very complete ending. And I think you'd be getting very diminishing returns on any spin-off about any of those characters. And like I say that, Scorpia is like my heart and soul. Love her to death, but I don't. I wouldn't ask for that. Good Omens Lockdown was for the 30th anniversary of the book in early May. Cool. Out of all the lightsaber designs and functions, canon or non-canon, which design would be your favorite? I've always just been partial to Vader's original, to be honest. You should react to the Good Omens quarantine. Do it now. Do it. Do it live. We're gonna do it live. I'll think about it. Who's Colin Baker's Sixth Doctor was Christopher Walken. Well remembered. So I am going to wrap it up. I hope everybody is doing all right. We did not in any way stick to the topics that I laid out on the thing. It devolved into Doctor Who almost immediately. Next time I might have to put anything but Doctor Who in the as the official subject, although that'll backfire on me. I'm sure it will. Anyways, take it sleazy. Yes. Thoughts on the Gotham gym stash? It was funny while it was there. So I hope everybody has a good rest of the day, good rest of the week, and yeah, take it easy, take care of yourselves, be safe. I know a lot of states are starting to reopen, but you know, just be careful. All right. So, oh, quick question for anyone looking for a drunk movie to watch tonight. Anything fun? Any suggestions? I'm sure you'll get a litany of them, Jesse. Yeah, God, I wouldn't even know where to start. Depends on what you're feeling. No idea what the time is for you. It's 2 a.m. here. Have a good night. Yeah, it is 9 o'clock where I am. So, remember that you are beautiful, you are valid, and you are loved. You're the council. I'm just running the meetings. Bye, everybody. McCavity!